Hey YouTube, it's Sharita21, aka Sharita Saves, and I am just coming real quick to show you how I use my overage from Rite Aid today. Everybody knows about the Oral-B deal. There is a $10 coupon in the oral health book that works on these power brushes, but the power brushes are $5.99, so it ends up with a $4.01 overage. So I decided that I would try to run this deal in the ground today, just in case Rite Aid decided that they wanted to change the coupon or something and I wouldn't be able to take advantage of it later on this week. I'm like a paranoid couponer, so I always feel like I'm going to miss something if I don't do it like right now. So I ended up going to 6 different Rite Aids today, because I didn't want to draw too much attention to myself in one store, and you know, I just wanted to see how far I could go with it and what type of items I could get. And I guess as I left out of one store, I would always think about the next thing that I could get. So I tried to get things that I could use, but also get things that I wouldn't use a coupon on, because I did not want to have anything beep and draw attention again to the transaction that I'm doing. So let me start off. The first Rite Aid that I went to did not have the oral health books out. So I ended up going to another Rite Aid that was right down the street. They had the oral health books, but then when I got up there with the coupons, and I was only intending to do 2 of the brushes, one of the Optima Cares, and then the Bounty, which is $9.77 this week. But when I got up there to try to ring it up, they wanted to reduce the value of the coupon down to $5.99. Based off of the price of the toothbrush. So I avoided the whole thing out, and I only bought the Optima Care deep conditioning packet. This rang up for 79 cents. I ended up using a $1 up reward on that, which they, you know, brought down to 79 cents. So the only thing I paid for that was tax, which was 4 cents, and I ended up getting a $1 Optima Care up reward off of that. So I ended up taking the oral health books from the second store ended up going back into the first store. So I ended up going back into the first store with those oral health books from the second store, and I went on and did the transaction with the 2 toothbrushes, the Optima Care packet and the Bounty. That ended up being $2.54 out of pocket. Of that, $1.13 was tax. And it ended up giving me the $2 Catalina for the Oral-B toothbrushes, and also gave me $1 for the Optima Care and 2 of the $2 up rewards for the Oral-B. So I came off with $5 on that one. My third transaction, I beefed it up a little bit. I did 4 of the toothbrushes, so I had $16 in overage. I threw in the Lanacane, which was $5 this week, and you get a $5 plus up back. This Lysol, I believe, was $3.99. And then the Simplify, I got 3 of the cups, and I got actually 4 of these, but one of them I already used today. 4 of the plates, and they were all $1 each. So that took up, I want to say that took up a little bit more than just the $16. That may have actually went over a little bit. Actually, no, it didn't. It didn't take up all of the $16. What I ended up doing on this one was my soap total was actually a 5-cent overage, and my tax was $1.75. So I paid $1.70 out of pocket, and I did give them cash for that instead of using a plus up on that. And I ended up getting $5 back for the Lanacane and this message saying that I reached my maximum on the Oral-B. But I did still get the Catalina on that one, so that still was a $7 moneymaker on that one. Well, besides the tax that I paid. Anyway, the 4th store, is that 4? The 4th store that I went to, I was like incredibly nervous because there were a lot of people in the store, and then when I finally got up to the register, I realized that the person that was ringing up the transactions was in training, and the manager was standing right next to him. So of course, when I gave him all of the toothbrushes and I gave him all of the coupons, they studied the coupon. They didn't even bother to bring it up to even let it beep. They analyzed it and told me, the manager basically looked at me and said, you can't use these at all. He didn't even try to adjust it down. So I smiled at him, said, okay, can I have my coupons back, void everything out, have a good day. And I went to another Rite Aid. So my kids were with me in the store on this one. Originally, in all the other Rite Aids I went to, they had no Capri Suns, and that was something I definitely had in mind, like get juices for the kids, drinks for the kids and stuff. Anyway, let me just tell you what I got. At the fifth store, I ended up getting 5 of the Oral-B's because the kids begged for this slushy magic thing, this as seen on TV thing. It was $15 though in the store, $14.99. So I ended up using my overage to get that and 2 of the Capri Suns. The Capri Suns were $3.49, which is in no way a deal, but the fact that they were free and I was using overage for it, I was fine with that. I wasn't really trying to get good values. I mean, I know there's better prices on even Lysol cleaners and stuff like that, but it was just the point of using my overage without using a coupon. So anyway, so yeah, this was $20 in overage. So the 2 Capri Suns and the Slushy Magic, my total, what did I do? Oh, I did. I gave them, I still gave them 1 of my plus ups on that one. There's a second plus up in there that ended up being voided out, but that's because of the tax. She didn't want to, what am I trying to say? She didn't want to cover this 92 cent with $1. She didn't reduce it down. She just left the 92 cent there. So 92 cents ended up being my subtotal after I gave them that $1 plus up. $2.37 was the tax. So this was a $3.29 transaction, and didn't get anything back on that one. And then finally, the last transaction that I did. Alright, so then at the last store, I ended up getting 4 of the toothbrushes, and with the overage, I ended up getting 4 of these finished Powerball packets. They were $3.99, so that basically took up the $4 overage from each of them, basically matched up to each of the toothbrushes. But I threw in the Tresemme. This was 99 cents. This little trial size bottle, so I threw that in just to cover that extra change of overage to make sure I didn't have any lapse with that. That was before I realized that on this transaction it did let me get the 5-cent overage on my tax, but whatever. In either event, my subtotal ended up being 91 cents on that. Again, they ate me up in taxes with $2.05 in taxes, so I ended up paying $2.96 on this one and didn't get anything back. Alright, so overall, my out-of-pocket expense for all of these items ended up being $11.32. I ended up getting back $11 in Up Rewards and $4 in Catalina. So that's $15 back with only $11.32 out of pocket. This is a really great deal this week. I know you guys already know that. I just wanted to kind of show the variety of items that you can get. Definitely household items. I'm probably going to go back and get more paper towels and things like that you know are difficult to stock up when you're only getting 25-cent P&G coupons. But in either event, I hope you guys make the most of this deal and you're able to get it before anything changes up with the coupons. Post any comments that you have, and thanks for watching.